I am Marcus James Dixon with Gold Derby, and we are here with Chandra Wilson and James Pickens Jr. to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Grey's Anatomy. And first of all, what do you both still remember about your very first day on the set?
I think you got there before me, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Wow. I think looking at the faces of what was then the original cast members and seeing folks who I said, "Oh wow," I know him, and I knew of Sandra O's work through Arliss, and I
Mhm.
said, "Man, she was such a good actress." And then Patrick Dempsey and I shot a pilot some years ago. It was a cop show that Christopher Columbus was actually directing. It never went, but we had a good time. I was actually looking at when they were still taking Polaroid stills for the costume checks and stuff, and I was looking to see how young we were. But I was I was excited about the cast members and what this show was about to become.
My first day was the I have five rules speech. That's how I was introduced
Right,
to everyone.
right.
So that was really exciting, actually, too, because the our interns at the time they had been working together for a minute and doing medical stuff together and doing hospital tours together. So they had already kind of formed this bond, and then I burst into that.
That's
So we
right.
had a pretty exciting first day.
I'm curious, how have your characters, Miranda Bailey and Richard Weber, evolved over the past 20 years of this show?
I know for me as an actor, if ever I'm confused about how Bailey might relay something or confused about performance, I always go back to that pilot episode because that was the episode that established who it was that we thought that we were.
Right.
Clearly, that resident Bailey had higher regard for herself than what she should have. She was walking around as chief way too early. But it really is my North Star. So with that said, audiences are way smarter than Bailey is. They've seen her underbelly, they've seen her soft side, they've seen her relationships, they've seen her mother, they've seen all of her compassion and all of her heart. So whether or not she believes that's the thing, she still thinks that she's the one, walking around giving orders. But we all know better than that.
What I think about the most is his how human they made him. We see his ups and downs, and we go through the marriages, the deaths of wives and former wives, and his continued journey with his recovery and his alcoholism, the medical issues that he's gone through in the past, and he still remains faithful to that hospital and to those interns and to those residents that all through the years. And I think that's what I've cherished the most about that we see how incredibly human he's been for these 20 seasons.
When you look back, what would you say is the craziest storyline or most memorable quote from the past 2 decades? I always love the vajayjay quote. O'Malley, stop looking at my vajayjay. Is there
Wow.
anything else that comes to mind?
There's been so many over, you're talking almost 450 episodes now. And to pull one particular one, obviously the Code Black episode
Yeah.
that aired on Super Bowl Sunday was probably obviously one of our linchpin episodes of this show. Was just amazing. The acting, the directing, the story,
Yeah.
how it played out. There's the shooter, the active shooter, where Chandra was so amazing. I still remember that scene where she's sitting in front of the elevator, cradling the young intern who's been shot and dying in her arms, and just the scream without the scream was just an amazing piece of acting on her part. But a lot of those, I mean, I always think of there's the penis fish episode, which that one still resonates. That there actually is something like that that's floating in some water somewhere. And my good friend Mitch Pileggi, who I'd worked with on Grey's on X-Files.
Yes.
Saved my ball, and we had such a good time doing that. But there's been it's hard to pinpoint one in particular. Chandra may have some that she's enjoyed as well.
I mean, no, really, like Shooter was certainly a standout for just not only the excitement of the episode, but how much fun we all had at the table reading those episodes and going, oh my gosh, we get to do this. I remember that. But I mean, we've done crazy things like the Judy dolls in the intestine. That was pretty funny. The pole going through. That was early on, right? We did our impalement. And we still do stuff like that, now with we have vehicles turn over and paramedics inside of ambulances and so and the truth is always so much stranger than fiction. Like those always come from things that happened, which continues to just boggle my mind, like all of the actual things that happened. But yeah, we like the crazy.
And Grey's Anatomy started out as a mid-season replacement, and it's now the longest-running medical show, most successful in TV history. Do you remember when you first realized that the show was a big hit? Was it the Super Bowl moment, or was it before that?
I don't know if Chandra remembers this, but ABC kind of started salting the clouds a little bit. We had a dinner. I think it was right before the premiere episode aired. Jim Perriott was still one of our producers, and Peter Horton was there, and we were standing around with cocktails and stuff, and Jim Perriott was very prophetic. He came over to me, and I said, Jim, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen? He said, Jim, I'm going to tell you. He said, this show is going to explode. I said, how do you know? I said, how do you know? He said, there's something about this one that's really different. And then we aired, and Desperate Housewives was still hugely popular at that point, and we actually followed them. Oh no, did we come on before them? We followed them. That's right. And our numbers came back from the premiere episode, and folks started saying, "Wait a minute, this is something different." And each week, more and more, this kind of roller coaster started to go. And when you started seeing the magazine covers and stuff talking about us and showcasing our actors, I said, well, this thing here is becoming something else that I don't think anybody expected.
I think the aside from the Super Bowl episode, the thing that resonated with me was, Jim, you'll remember this, at one of the early upfronts that we went to. I can't remember if it was when we were still airing those season 1 episodes or the next season, which would have been after Super Bowl. But it was a kind of a tradition back then that the shows would all kind of stand in front of their sign. Yes. And some of the advertisers would come and take a picture and do photos and take a picture and do photos. So we were at one point in this room full of other shows doing pictures and photos, and then slowly but surely all the other shows started shutting down, and our line started getting longer, shutting down, and our line just kept going. We were taking pictures and signing autographs. It was like, okay, maybe they want to see us.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good one.
We at Gold Derby love talking about awards, and there was the SAG Awards year when the ensemble cast won, and then you won individually, Chandra. What do you remember most about that night, and maybe like the awards scene overall for Grey's Anatomy?
Yeah, we certainly enjoyed doing it as an ensemble, because from day one we have always seen our show as an ensemble show. Still to this day, it takes every last one of us. So our joy was full for all of us. And then to get the individual recognition, to me, it really felt more like this was for everybody that was watching. This was for other actors that want to give up this is who that was for. And again, it attributes to the ensemble of it all. So, for even, the last year, we were still going to People's Choice Awards and receiving recognition. I mean, it's pretty amazing. And it's a testament to our fan base. It's a testament to all of the new people that continue to find our show and start over, and the ones that have watched all 19 seasons, 20 seasons before 4 to 5 times. It's the comfort food that we are, and we never take that for granted.
I know I would love to talk about your on-screen romantic partners played by Jason George and Debbie Allen. What's something you could tell us about working with those amazing people that fans may not know?
Debbie is a force of nature. I mean, I've known Debbie since New York days, and I've never seen anyone work as hard and as passionate about what they do as she does. And I mean, literally every day, whether she's directing an episode or our executive producer or acting, and she is fully committed, and she is 100 in. It's infectious. You can't help but want to kind of extract some of that. I tell her a lot of times, I don't see how you stand it. I'd be somewhere in a chair collapsed, but she is, she's got so much energy, and her love of the craft and her commitment to the show and to the actors and to the whole process. I just can't say enough about how much I respect her and admire her for doing that. And having scenes with her is always fun. We crack joke with each other and talk about times past and all of the things that we shared as performers back in those early days in New York and stuff. It makes it fun to come to work with her.
And it's a testament to the overall vibe of our show, Shondaland in particular, where we all kind of grow together. Debbie comes in to our show multifaceted and spreads that around the cast. Where I'm directing, Jim and I are both producing. Jason George came into that fabric and was able to spread it into Station 19, and then started directing there, and looks forward to directing at Grays. So it not only as actors are we inspired to continue to grow and have fun with each other and develop, but also as actors and as professionals. In this industry, there's no ceiling, right? So if there's something that you may want to try, go ahead and go for it. And, that's the atmosphere that we have as actors working together, as well as in our ensemble.
And you mentioned Shondaland. What is it like living in Shondaland, working under the guidance of the amazing Shonda Rhimes?
Well, we were before there was a Shondaland, so...
That's right.
It's kind of like seeing that baby born and then, take off and, and do its thing, and then end up kind of being the umbrella. So, if the seeds of any of that came from, what we were creating on the floor of Grays, and that's amazing. So yeah, you can go off and do media and do other shows and do, you have the online presence and each of the waves of technology that have come over all of the years that we've been on from, I was using my VHS tapes, at the beginning, and moving into the DVRs and I'm sorry, even before DVR, we had those box sets of CDs that would come out, we would all sign those and get those every year. And then into streaming where we are now, Shondaland has just kind of led in being there and centered and right in the middle of all of that, except for me. Like everybody else in Shondaland is on social media, except me. Maybe I'm just stubborn about it at this point. I was like, I'm not going to ride the way Jim is in there. He's like the social media king. Yeah. But all of that is, inspired from that umbrella, that we live under to keep the communication with our fan base alive.
Season 21, it still has a few episodes left to go. Mm-hmm. What can you tease us, if you are allowed to, about what's to come, Jim?
Withholding some valuable information moving forward with Tasha's treatment. She needs a liver transplant, but some information is withheld that is very crucial to Meredith and I moving forward. And Evan does not make that. She's not forthcoming with that. So there's a dilemma, both ethically and medically, that we have to navigate. So I think that one, we got some great guest stars who are part of that episode, and really amazing. It's a really powerful episode.
Here we are in season 20, pulling in Lena, like, whoa, here we go.
Right.
People don't want to come and play with it. It's amazing.
Before we let you go, I'm curious, do you ever think about whether you're going to hang up your doctor's coats and say goodbye to Grey's Anatomy, or do you want to keep these coats on for as long as possible?
Oh boy, I don't know if we've never really talked about it, but I think I talked with Shonda about it one time and stuff, and this thing has been a really blessing for me. I was a mature actor when I got the show, and 20 years down the line to still have folks write incredible stories with my character in mind is something that's very special. But to answer your question, we'll be a part of it until there's no more stories to tell. and when there's no more stories to tell, then Chandra and I will go hand in hand, and we'll walk in that OR. We'll take one more look around, and then we'll turn the lights out and ride off into the sunset.
That's the way it's going to be written. Very good. Very good.
You're going to make me cry.